Cheers, welcome to my channel. This is a timely tarot oracle reading about random shift. This is general or collective, so parts may or may not resonate. Take what works for you and just leave the rest. This is also a timely reading, so if you're watching it now, this is the perfect time for you. Having said that, if it has been a while since I posted this, what was going on in your life back then? That might give you further clarity as to your situation now. All right, just double checking. I can move this over a little bit here. All right. So I did a quick meditation beforehand, and the two underlined energy cards coming up is the Fool. So this is talking about going on a brand new journey, a new cycle anyway. So this is talking about the sun coming out, and it's white because it's representing that the Fool is going on a blank slate, basically. He's got a little bit of baggage with him, not very much from the last cycle. And he has these tattered sleeves, which represents that he has been on a cycle before. So it's not like, even though this is a new cycle, he can take the information that he learned from the last cycle and the ones before that and bring them along. He's taking a leap of faith and saying, okay, I'm ready to go on this cycle. And he has a really good attitude, and that's what Shooting Star is about. Shooting Star is from the Pleiades, and she's one of the 7 sisters, and she is representing the base chakra, which is Muladhara, and this is about having a good, strong attitude. You know, you can wish upon a shooting star, but if you just sit there, you can't really expect something to happen. After you wish on the shooting star, you need to take some sort of action. That's what the universe loves to see, is action. And she, in the background of this, in the background of this painting, is this Super 7 crystal, which has a really beautiful energy to it. It has 7 different major crystals in one. All right, we have the energy of the 10 of Pentacles. We're off to a good start on this cycle. This is the ultimate lifestyle, or the promise of that. And it's talking about, it's raining money. You have, the person that you love to be with, the pets, the children, and the time to enjoy it with the neighbors. Now, this is the promise of having an ultimately beautiful lifestyle. Pentacles and tarot represent health, wealth, and happiness in the third dimensional plane. A big part of that, of course, is money. But you could have all the money in the world and still not have the lifestyle that you want to be living. So this is talking about having the ultimate lifestyle, as well as having the money coming in. And this is, the 10 is the most that you can have in Pentacles. So then we have the Queen. And so this could be saying that this is coming through for you on this new cycle. The Queen of Swords is one of 4, and we have 2 of them here already. So the Queen of Swords is, she's been there, she's done that, she has the t-shirt. She's not in the mood for any bullshit. She has her left hand out, so she's willing to receive this, this good lifestyle and everything. But she has her sword up. She's learned to use her discernment, and she's saying, if you come near me, if you come into me and you want to have a conversation with me, it better not be any bullshit, because if there's bullshit, off with your head. She's not in the mood. And then we have this energy here where she has her head above the clouds. This is representing clarity in her situation, and she's saying that she's ready to move forward. Quite often, this one little bird in the background here in the Queen of Swords represents independence. So quite often the Queen and the King of Swords are the ones that are most likely to be divorced or separated. And then we have the Queen of Cups. This is talking about love. So the cups in tarot represent love, and sometimes this could be romantic love, and sometimes it can be just love of someone or something you love to do or be. She has a lid on her cup. It's like a trophy for her. She's the most likely to be in a traditional marriage, and this energy is talking about love of her family, having unconditional love for that. She loves her, her children, her home. Like, this is like a homemaker type energy. As I said, a much more, good morning, Stella. Yes, I started the reading without you. And I forgot to feed you, so you're going to have to be a patient kitty. All right, so this is talking about the most maternal of all the queens, and she's sometimes representing the maternal bloodline as well. So this is talking about, your mother, your grandmother, great-grandmother, down the maternal line. Sometimes it can also represent females on both sides of the family that are like aunts, cousins, and, extended family like that. She also sometimes does represent DNA, because the mitochondria, which is the energy part of our cells, is passed down to both, male and female children, but only the females carry it. So daughters carry the mitochondria, and the DNA. When people are using it to trace bloodlines, they can trace the mother's bloodline all the way back through the daughters. Because there's no, the sons don't carry it. They just are affected by it. And we have the high priestess energy. The high priestess is talking about using your intuition. She is joyful because she is highly intuitive. She uses both her logic and her intuition to come to creative solutions. She's sitting in between these two extreme pillars, and all this energy in the background here represents information. And, we live in the age of information for sure. We have information at the click of a mouse, in seconds, and we can find out anything. And it's even more and more that way now with the AI energy coming out in full force. So this is talking, though, about the information. It can be overwhelming when we have that much information coming in. So she'll ask a logical question, and then she will maybe get like 10 answers, and she's trying then wants to know which one of these 10 answers is the most beneficial for me. The answer for her might be different from the answer from someone else, just because of her circumstances. So then what she does is she stops thinking, and she allows herself just to feel when she, asks herself, as she goes through each of these questions. And what I mean by feeling, she allows herself to stop thinking. And, the mind is the thinking part. The brain is our central nervous system. So our central nervous system will give us sensations that come from the brain and the spinal column. And if we notice those, we can just feel in a second if we're in alignment to that answer, or is it another one. A lot of people, if they're not feeling like, oh, that's a weak answer, they'll feel like a sensation. A lot of people will say like elevator dropping feeling, that gut feeling. And so you can really start noticing those sensations. And if you feel a strong one, a lot of people will describe that as all of a sudden they want to straighten up, have a spine, that type of energy. And so you can start working with your intuition in this way, noticing which one of these 10 answers you are strong to. You ask your intuition, and then you can apply that answer and say, okay, now I'm going to logically apply that answer to the problem. And that's how she does it. And then she also knows that if she follows the cycles of the moon, that she is going to be highly intuitive during those times of when there's a full moon and a new moon. She's sitting between two ultimate extremes. This one represents Jesus, and this one represents the devil. So, if she can do it, we can do it. And then we have this energy here of the Two of Wands, and this is talking about someone who is wanting to expand in their life in some way. This is someone standing at the top of the turret of their castle, and they have the world in their hands, but they realize, yeah, but I come from a small town of 5,000 people. And maybe this quite often reminds me of franchise energy, or entrepreneur energy. Maybe you've been very successful in planting a business where you're at, but now you're running out of people because it's smaller. And so this person realizes, okay, I either need to add another location or change location. Sometimes this can talk about wanting to go global. We have the water in between the distant shore there. So sometimes this energy can represent even overseas energy, communicating with people to expand in that way. The wands in tarot represent the element of fire, and wood fuels the fire. And this is also like representing the tree. And so a tree has deep roots from the ancestors, as well as the offshoots, which represent the descendants. So the decisions we make affect that. Now this person, this could be about business and wanting to take passionate action to move forward in a business. Or maybe it could even be about wanting to create a family. Maybe you've met someone or you're thinking it's time I get out there and meet someone because I want to have that special someone to create a family with. Sometimes this can, a passion for that type of energy. It quite often means you're considering moving forward, either actually physically, or sometimes it can just represent moving forward in a business or moving forward. Maybe you want to make a stronger commitment to someone, that type of energy. We have the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles, the Knights in tarot do represent communication, information coming in. In the old days, this was the only way they had of long distance communication. These days, we have so many ways of communication and information coming in, as I said. So you don't need a knight to show up at your door to say, oh, okay, this is the communication I've been waiting for. This could easily be a phone call, a text message. This could be something that arrives in the mail, documents. It could also represent an email. Maybe you're on social media and someone messages you, or you attend an event that you see hosted, and you attend it, and then you run into someone and they have the perfect information for you. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest of all the four knights. He is like incredibly slow. It can be really annoying waiting for the information and communication to come in from the Knight of Pentacles. If his information has something to do with your lifestyle. It can be paperwork, or maybe you've decided to purchase a house and you're waiting to see if the sellers have accepted your offer. It's that kind of anticipation, waiting, hurry up, we want the information. But he sometimes needs to have a board meeting with himself just to brush his teeth. So we have to be patient sometimes for the information to come in, and we have to have a good attitude about it and just be like, okay, it'll come in when it comes in. But the good news is when the Knight of Pentacles shows up with information, generally that information is going to be very sound, and which should be a solid offer. And so, if you're waiting for some information or communication to come in, all is not lost. Have a good attitude, be patient as you can be. And we do have the Strength energy coming in. This card is talking about having the strength to reach deep within yourself, to face your deepest fears so that you can reach your infinite potential. This young woman's reaching into this lion's mouth, and this is a full-grown adult male lion. And this would be very dangerous to do, but she is doing it anyway because she's determined to reach her infinite potential. And she knows that some fears, and possibly quite often this represents some, fears that maybe you've been holding since you were a child, are holding her back from, this ultimate lifestyle that she wants so badly. So she's trying to face those fears to be able to move forward. And then we have the King of Cups. The King of Cups is, he has a cup of love to offer. Now look at this, we have a king and a queen here. And so this could represent someone wanting to bring in a cup of love. He is out in the middle of all this rough water. In tarot, rough water like that represents mixed or volatile emotions, and it can represent having chaos around. So he's in the eye of the storm. The King of Cups is the most likely to be in a traditional marriage with someone like the Queen of Cups. He has really learned to control his emotions. He doesn't let them get a hold of him so that he makes rash decisions that he regrets later. So this is talking about you need to be like the King of Cups maybe at this time and be very calm about the emotions that are hitting, like recognizing he has his right foot forward, which is saying, I'm ready to take action, but I'm waiting until I really know. I don't want to take action, impulsively and then regret it because the offer doesn't go through. It's not the energy doesn't feel like it's the right time to deliver the message. And sometimes when the king, especially when the king and the queen come together like this sometimes can represent your parents. And so this could be the maternal line, and this could be the paternal line. This would be, your father, your grandfather, great-grandfather, down that line. And also this can represent the energy of, uncles, male cousins, that sort of brothers, that type of energy. So we have a lot of family energy coming out. It can be both, and we may have a cup of love, and maybe you are maybe you have been through something and you're waiting for some information, and now that the information has come in, you've had to maybe really dig deep to really figure out, okay, what do I want to do? Maybe this king has offered you a cup of love now, and you're the queen of swords, and you've been through a divorce or something, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to get back into a traditional relationship or whatever. And so you're working on figuring that out. So let's see here. We have the Page of Cups. And so the Page of Cups is talking about, the pages are a younger version of knights. They start around 7 to 14 years of age working for the king and queen, and their job is also to deliver information, communication, and run small errands and tasks within the palace walls. They're very, 7 to 14 may sound very young to start working for the king and queen, but back in those days, you have to remember the life expectancy was half of what it is now. So they didn't have childhood and adolescence as we have it now. The page would always be male, and just as the knights always would be. But you have to remember that all of the characters in tarot are archetypes, so they're not gender specific. So the king could be a female in her masculine energy, same with this energy, and the queens could be a male in their feminine energy. So just keeping that in mind. And so the page, it's the same, delivering information. This is about a cup of love. Now this is saying someone has their eye on you. They know there's plenty of fish in the sea, but they have their eye on this fish. And they're wondering, maybe this is talking about someone wanting to offer you, get in communication with you now, to offer you this cup of love. Sometimes this can represent online dating, as well as the other forms of communication. And this can also be talking, like if this is the Queen of Swords energy, this can be talking about a past love that you had that was fishy. There was something fishy in it, or it stunk. You know what happens if you leave a fish out of water for too long? It starts to smell. So there could have been some problem in a past relationship causing the divorce, and that might be part of the healing that needs to happen to be able to take that offer. And it may have something to do with lifestyle. So let's take a look here. Walking away from, okay. So I feel like what this reading could be about is maybe you are deciding whether or not to get divorced so that you can move forward and have a cup of love with someone that you want to have this lifestyle with, and you're trying to make that decision. So this would represent the couple, wanting the divorce, and then this new cup of love coming in. And that would explain why we have the 3 queens out here. The 8 of Cups represents when you're just done. I'm walking away. I'm not doing this anymore. I really do feel that this could be about that you realize that, you know, you deserve to have the love that you want in your life. And maybe your partner has been in this energy, you know, where they have not been around or they've expanded their horizons with a third-party energy. We have 5 cups of a solid, you know, relationship here, and then we have 2 cups here with a gap in between and a 3rd cup. So sometimes this can represent one of the partners walking away from the relationship. So this could represent your partner walked away or you walked away. Now, if this isn't in love, this is talking about, this sometimes can be talking about someone or something that you love. So this could be even you walking away because there was something that happened within your traditional family and you decided, I have to walk away from them. Or they have shunned you, or, you know, sometimes what comes up in some religions, if you don't follow the rituals and the, you know, whatever the rules of the church are, sometimes families will shun someone and they will not, the church says you're not allowed to talk to this person anymore. And it could be that kind of energy, or it could even be walking away from something that you love to do or be. And maybe there was a business partner or something involved in it. It had a negative impact on your lifestyle, your finances coming in, and you're having to move forward and maybe start over again or something like that. We have the 10 of Pentacles here. We have, you know, going inward and really looking at your shadow side to really dig deep and say, okay, what is it that I want? And maybe heal some childhood wounds. And that would make sense if this is a family issue. And then we have this could be your parents, and maybe they've even crossed the veil and they're watching over this. This is talking about walking away from something that really is not beneficial for you. So it's not just walking away carelessly. It's about saying, I've put a lot of time and energy in love into this relationship with whatever this is, and it hasn't been beneficial for me. I need to walk away. And this, or someone walking away from you and you having to deal with that. So that it could represent that third party energy. It could represent also someone else coming into your life and you realizing, oh, that's what it feels like to be treated with respect and love. And maybe you're leaving for that reason to be with someone else. This is about wanting to expand your horizons. And this is talking about using your intuition to make this decision. So bottom line is if you want, if you wish upon a star and you want to have that energy come back to you, you have to have a strong attitude in this to make the strong choices. I'm going to clarify this for those of you who want clarification. The cards I'm using are from my Oracle, Tales from the Vector, and this is a courtesy of the Intergalactic Federation of Light. I started this in 2007. In 2020, I completed all of the 64 paintings. The numbers on these cards represent the paintings as they're listed in my on my website, talesfromthevector.com. I'll put them in the description box below so you can take a look if you want further clarity after this reading is over. If you're leaving the reading now, thank you so much for your time and energy, your likes, comments, subscribes, all of that. I really, really appreciate it. It helps me to build my channel. Now, we have mother's worry here, so we definitely could have a mother worrying with when we have this energy here. The worst thing a mother can do is worry, but mothers are taught to worry. I mean, think about it. And all the times that you've ever worried, if you have children, if you've worried about them, has it ever helped? When you're laying awake, you're just tired when you get up in the morning. So, if a mother can't see her children having a really strong future, who is going to? And we're very intimately connected with our children. So when we worry about them, they're going to feel that. A better way would be to just see them doing very well, picture that in your mind, and, check in and whatever, and move forward. But sometimes this can also just be, this card has been coming up in a lot of my readings just because of the volatility of the where the earth is right now. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot of new shift that we're dealing with. And so this is talking about some sort of justice coming into the Queen. And we do have a tower here, which also says divorce. So the Hierophant is responsible for bringing justice down to the physical from the spiritual. It means that when the Hierophant shows up, it means that a judgment has already been made on the spiritual realm, and that is now his job to bring that down into the traditional structures of the physical. And sometimes that, the Hierophant is traditional structure. So it can mean, if you're a religious person, that it is the traditional structures of the people that are in charge of your church or religion. And unfortunately, there are several churches and religions out there that do have that is something that they have, where if they, they have a council or whatever, and they feel that it's their place to judge rather than God to judge, and they will actually tell families, they divide families. You're not allowed to have anything to do with your child or that person in your family ever again, because they broke these rules of our church. And you have to decide whether or not that's a route you want to take. I personally feel that judgment is up to God. We never know why people do what they really do, and God is the only one that can actually see the heart of someone and make those judgments. That's my opinion. If you're more spiritual, this can talk about, through meditation and prayer, going straight to source, and getting the information from the divine, from the Most High, to take the steps of action that you need. And this bringing down then into the court systems of the world, or the structures of whatever that is. When the Hierophant comes in, he does have his right hand in the form of a blessing. And this is talking about the energy of, if you're on the right side of the law, and we're talking spiritual law, God's law, not the church's law, God's law, then this is going to be a blessing coming in for you. And if you're on the wrong side of the law, it's going to be, you're going to have to face the consequences of your actions. We do have a tower coming in, so there is divorce. Now, in my oracle, the divorce is actually, the worst divorce would be from source. So yeah, divorce in the physical with a partner, a spouse, can be really, really challenging and a big decision to make. But the biggest, the worst divorce you could ever have is when you are not with source. So this is talking about having access. No matter what people do on the planet, you always have access directly to the Most High, and can ask for the Most High's guidance directly. You don't have to have an intermediary. And then we have the Libra energy, which is talking about making strong choices from love, from a place of love. And so the Libra energy is when you can anticipate a good future by letting go of expectations of and limitations of how this is going to play out. So it's about having the faith just to go on your divine path. And this is talking about, maybe you weren't mature enough at the time that you got into this marriage, this commitment. So a lot of times people don't realize what a huge commitment it is to maybe be thinking about starting a family or something in particular. Like, it's one thing to get into a relationship with someone and marry them, and it's another to raise a family. It's a huge commitment. So maybe this just didn't work out because you or your partner or both were just too immature to be able to deal with it. And I just want to point out, when horoscope signs show up in my readings, I'm not talking about the individuals. I'm talking about the state of being of the sign. So we all have a little bit of that energy in us somewhere in our birth chart. If we get it done, you can see which house it's in. And so I'm focusing on what can we learn from each of the signs. Libra is about justice and being mature enough, like you're now an adult and you're mature enough. And that might come at different times in life for different people. Some people take a lot longer to mature to make a decision like this than others. It's not about age, it's about maturity to make that decision. So and having this good attitude sure is coming up again. And then we have Cancer, and this is talking about the moon energy. Again, it's talking about Cancer is the most emotional of all the signs. It's the baby of the water signs. It's talking like maybe adolescent girl energy, very emotional. So it's saying again, control your emotions, especially at times when the moon is full or new. That's when we tend to be the most emotional, or if there's eclipses happening. And so this is about engaging in the energy rather than being, taken down by it. Just like the King of Cups, you need to learn to take control of your emotions and make decisions from a strong place. And then we have degradation. This is a tactic that people use. Yeah, this is when people shame other people they degrade them so that they feel bad about themselves, and then that makes the people around them feel better about themselves for some reason. But recognize that the only one that can truly judge anyone accurately would be God himself. God is the only one. We don't even know who we are most of the time. How can we possibly judge another human being? It doesn't make sense. And then we have the battle star. So this is talking about having the courage to really go deep and face this energy with a good attitude, no matter what it is. This is the solar plexus. This card is saying, make sure you breathe. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and make the exhale longer than the inhale, and just think about, okay, I'm taking all the love in, and I'm letting anything that doesn't belong to me go. It really does empower you to breathe through your nose because it gets more oxygen to your brain. It really does help if you take a deep breath and take the few moments to breathe before making a decision to open your mouth and you don't have the same regrets that you might have otherwise. I do hope that this has been beneficial for you. I feel that this is a message of love from the divine, definitely. I'm getting goosebumps. Recognize that no matter what happens between people, you always have a connection to source energy. The tower is just a reality check that comes in to let you know that. All right, I am going to let this one go. I never know what is going to come up with random shift readings. I do hope this has been beneficial for you. I thank you so much for your time, your energy, your likes, comments, subscribes. I am truly honored when you do subscribe to my channel. I will be back with another random reading for you soon. Bye for now.